Got Your Back Pod Stream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at MrDirk.com.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. You can't trust a forward. Listen to my words tonight. Don't just fall in love with my face. I used to be somewhat of a big deal, wheeling, dealing, no bucket in the warm-up, people carrying my bags in. How many times do I have to tell you through text, let's talk about the PK? That is a dirty hit that needs a response. I like a stiff, stout pillow. We'd rather dress nobody than dress you.
The only thing I like better than easy points are free Slurpees.
Goalies embellish all the time. He tumbled over like he was hit by a Zamboni. Am I this good, or are we just winning by 7 goals, and that's why I'm out here? Just say, I know you're right, Struddy. Just get it out. I think I am the modern-day Ronnie Dangerfield.
Yeah, I get no respect.
And now, Weiss Johnson presents Struddy's World. Here's your host, the new member of parliament for the riding of Jeans Under Track Pants Southwest, Jason Strudwick.
Oh, man, what's going on, Oilers fans? We must be feeling good about themselves today. What a night of hockey for the Edmonton Oilers. They now find themselves up 3-2 in an all-important first-round series against the LA Kings. We'll get you set up for what it looks like going forward. And hear what Coach Knoblock said this morning at 9 a.m. before they got on a flight home. The show is brought to you by our good friends at Weiss Johnson Heating and Air Conditioning. Beat the rush on getting a new air conditioner for this summer. The team over at Weiss Johnson are already busy with requests for air conditioning, so don't wait. Specializing in servicing your existing mechanical systems or installing new ones, visit Weiss Johnson. Weiss Johnson is here for all your home comfort needs. Visit weissjohnson.com today. Hit it.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
Who was the genius that said the Oilers would lose in 6 to the LA Kings? Looks unlikely that happens now. Well, that person was sitting here in his home office. Brought to you by Adrenaline Diesel in my studio. Edmonton's premier heavy-duty diesel truck repair shop. Specializing in powertrain, tuning, performance, and part sales. Visit adrenalinediesel.ca. I said I hoped I was wrong, Zubie. I said it.
Yep,
I didn't want to be right. And now it looks like I will be wrong one way or another.
I like that you keep saying it looks like. I understand that the Kings could still win, but the 6 is certainly gone, unless you know something we don't. That like a men's league game after they only have 6 ice times booked, and after game 6 they'll flip a coin or something to see if it was tied 3-3. But I don't expect that either.
No, it doesn't feel like it's going to happen. But I do know what's going to happen today on this show. We've got Ryan Rishaug coming up in about 10 minutes' time. We'll talk about what potential changes both teams can make looking to a massive Game 6 tilt at home for the Oilers. Daryl Dragon? Daryl Dragon? What did I call him?
Dragon?
Daryl Dragon. Jeez. Darren Dreger
like
on a chat GTP. That's awful. Darren Dreger will join us. And we'll take a look around the NHL. The Leafs lose a massive game at home, a clinching game, and they cannot close it out. We'll talk about some of the suspensions we've seen with them. And then Connor Hellebuck. Where is his game at heading to this all-important Game 5 for them coming up tonight? And then we'll have Playing the Field, get you caught up with some things around the league. Getting off your fence. There are, according to our calculations, our statisticians, there are 8 positions most likely available in the NHL for head coaching. I will tell you the number one spot that I would take if I was a coach. Zubie will challenge me. He's got a different one. Now, Zubie, I told no AHL jobs. It had to be NHL jobs, just to be clear.
Oh, shoot. Okay, well, I have a few minutes to research it in the background.
And then we love hearing from all of you as well. So ask Struddy at the end of the show. Get in there. Keep those coming in. We know I've just put in the AS, not ASS, just AS handle before, so we know we can get into those later on. So just a wildly packed show today. We're all pumped up after a fun night of Oiler hockey. I feel when I look at this series, there's been one massive difference in this, and it's been the depth players for both teams. Just incredible. I think that going into it, we had no idea what the Oilers' depth was going to be like because they hadn't played or we hadn't seen him play enough. And then the other side, the Kings, they were talking about the newly added depth they had, the goaltending they had, and the difference has been the depth. So let's look at it here. Let's look at some of the players. Janmark, 2 goals. He had 2 goals all year. Connor Brown, 2 goals. Podkolzin, 3 goals. 3 assists he's got. Corey Perry, 3 assists, playing on the top line. You got Evander Kane, I think he has, 2 goals and 1 assist, and he hadn't played for 10 months. Frederick, been very, very, very physical. So to me, it is so important to recognize what this depth has done and how it's changed this series, because now going to the next game, I'm looking ahead. Where are the Kings going to find their depth? Who are they going to play suddenly more on the road than they did at home? Sammy Lanis, Turcotte, these other, what's the other D-men there? Spencer, all these guys, they're not playing that much at home. Do you think they're suddenly going to play more on the road, Zubie? So the Oilers' depth, we talked about the top end, Connor, Leon, Hyman, all these guys, but it's, to me, the depth that's carrying the day in these games and making a massive difference for ice time for both teams.
And it's a complete flip-flop, a reversal of expectations of what going into the series it was supposed to be. Well, if the Oilers load up the top line, how are they going to deal with the Kings' depth? And it hasn't been that way. And the Kings have been the team shortening their bench, up front and on D, and they're looking tired. So I'm pleasantly surprised that that's how it's been. And the other thing too, is you mentioned, you have Hyman and Nugent Hopkins, who you wouldn't consider depth players, who they've been around it, but they haven't contributed a ton offensively yet. So you've also got them that could still break out and get some goals on the board.
And I love that. And it's a really good point. The other guy, Adam Henrique, I don't think he has a point. I think he has 0 points, but he's been really good on face-offs. One assist, and he's been really good on PK. I didn't talk about the D-men. I always save the best for last, right? Yes. You don't pull out your best beer the first beer. You wait later on. So let's get into our digital sound box, brought to you by Douglas Mattresses. If you're like me, there's nothing better than a good night's sleep after a long day. Your best sleep is just around the corner, and man, could I use it after a late night last night on the pod. With every mattress, they're including a free sleep bundle that includes 2 memory foam pillows, a complete set of luxury sheets, and more. Visit the Douglas Mattress Store in Manchester Square here in Edmonton, or check them out at douglas.ca/GYB. Let's hear from Chris Knob. This is fresh. Just before I go on the plane, this is head coach Chris Knoblock talking about the D, Klingberg and Wallman, and what they've meant to this group. Hit it.
I don't think we're ever going to replace an Ekholm. Ekholm just gives us so much, but the group that we have right now are doing a tremendous job stepping up in his absence. And think about, we're fortunate to have that depth that we have. I'm thinking back at the trade deadline about, adding, what do we need? And we're thinking maybe a top line forward or more depth defenseman. And, certainly with the injury to Ekholm, we're very fortunate that the right move was to trade for a guy like Wallman. And in fact, Wallman being a great fit for us.
It's incredible. So that's Chris Knobloch this morning. That's fresh off the papers. When you look at that whole situation, the back end, when you add Wallman and Klingberg. Klingberg, we didn't think he was going to play again, much less contribute like he has. The puck movement he has and his defense, it's not always perfect. I think he's still trying to find his skating legs backwards. But when that puck's on his stick, he makes huge plays, as he did last night to the game, the tying goal, the 1-1 goal to Kane. I expect tomorrow night at home, he'll be continuing to move and make that play, because that is what he really is good at. And Wallman, a bit of jack of all trades. Now, he hasn't played penalty kill in a while. He was bleeding goals against, so he's not on there anymore. Bouchard's replaced him. I expect that to continue into the next game. But where would this team be, Zubie, if they didn't have Wallman or Klingberg? And my mind is blown. We're saying this about John Klingberg after what we've seen up to this point for his time as an Oiler. Let's be honest.
We had episodes of Got Your Back where the Klingberg experiment was deemed to be over. Oh, we lost Struddy. Now it's just the Zubie show. We're going to get Struddy back. I'll be oh, here he's coming right back. Here we go. We got him. No problem. He got a little excited there. You good?
I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. The Klingberg experiment was deemed dead and over. And what I like about his game is there's confidence there. And you could just tell with every puck touch. Now he had two giveaways in game 4, right? That he was very lucky. Neither one of them ended up in the back of the net. Pickard bailed him out. So maybe sometimes it's overconfidence, but I like he's got some swagger out on the ice right now in his skating and in the way he's moving the puck as well.
And as a group, I think they're really moving well. And let's look ahead to tomorrow again. You've got Nurse, Bouchard, Kulak, Wallman, Emberson, and Klingberg. None of them are being overtaxed as far as game playing. They should have their skating legs. And we've seen these guys skate the puck out of trouble or skate the puck into a situation and make a play. On the other side, guys like Mike Anderson, great name, by the way, Drew Doughty, Joel Edmondson, Gavrikov, those 4 are being overplayed. Where do you think their legs are at? When they need that extra little squeeze of juice in the second or third, late in the third period, do you think they have it there? They don't, because these guys are being used way too much. And Joel Edmondson, I love him. I wish I would have played as good as Joel Edmondson, but he can't play as much as he has. So they're on the road. They're going to rely on them more. And I think as the game goes on tomorrow, these guys will tire out and you'll see the Oilers D being fresh, Zubie. And that's a huge point you make.
And I'm surprised they're underplaying Brandt Clark. I know he's young, but he's got young legs too. Like that part of it seems the most confounding to me of his omission and lack of ice time.
Yeah, it's incredible. Let's go back into the sound box one more time. So we know Ekholm is not around. We understand that. But there's a guy who is ready to go and another depth player who can play more and would play more for the Oilers than the Kings are playing their D-men. Troy Stecher. Here's Chris Knoblock.
Troy is available, yes.
Yeah, okay, but obviously you don't want to change the winning lineup, and you like the way those 6 guys are playing at the back end.
Those 6 guys have been playing really well, and during the playoffs, something's bound to happen if we're fortunate to move on, and we feel confident that Stecher would be a good addition for us right now, and hopefully we can keep playing a winning lineup.
So it sounds like Stecher is ready to play, which is great. They need healthy bodies around. He won't be playing. It makes sense. You're not changing anything up on the back end. But now at home, we know it's a long ways down the road. But having Stecher there as a option for 7 is absolutely massive. So again, the depth for this team has been so important. We talked a lot about Connor, Leon, Hyman, Bouchard, all these guys. It's the depth guys that are contributing. Connor Brown, 2 goals. Matthias Janmark, 2 goals. Who thought that both those guys would have 2 goals heading into this? And Corey Perry, I think he has 2 goals. So all those guys are banging around the bottom 6. Here they are, 6 goals between them. It's incredible, Zubie.
Yeah, not what I expected. Perry and Kane up front, especially, just have been they've been hard to handle for the Kings, and they've been delivering more than what was expected, and that's pretty darn helpful at playoff time to have a couple guys like that.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's transition now. I think he just he just got off the elliptical. So let's now transition to our time to get up to speed now with our good buddy Ryan Rishaug, brought to you by Timber Haas. If you're tired of those dull cookie cutter houses, Timber Haas is looking to shake things up. Their designs harness the power of natural light to brighten your days and lift your spirits, because life's too short for ordinary houses and dull living. Let them build your place where laughter and good times are a part of the blueprint. Visit timberhaas.ca. Whoa, looking rosy-cheeked and ready to go. Too sexy. Yeah. How did the workout go this morning?
Haven't quite got to it yet, bud. Haven't quite got to the elliptical. But I did play like the fastest round of my life out at Bellevue this morning. I got out super early, first off the tee box with the cart. I zipped 18 holes in an hour and 38 minutes. It was amazing. Jeez. Off the charts, yeah.
Good for you, and counted 85% of your strokes as well, it sounds like. So congratulations.
Yeah. I know. By the way, you firmly have your hands on the wheel of this show. This is your show.
Go on.
You get to do what you want with this show. And I just find it fascinating. You pull 2 clips from Chris Knoblock, and both are related to the defenseman. Like the second clip was just, but it defense related, you're drawn to it. Just anything D related, you're like, gotta get this out there, gotta get that out there. It's all about the depth defenseman. Yeah. Let's take 2 minutes and talk about the number 7 or 8 defenseman, Struts. Love the D.
I did acknowledge that there are forwards on this team named Brown and some of those guys. So you heard what I was talking about. So, I think that the difference in this series has been the depth of both teams, the lack of it for the Kings or the lack of desire to play it. And I think guys are running out of juice over there. And on this side, not only are they playing, you got Connor Brown, 2 goals, Perry, 2 goals, Kane, 2 goals, Janmark, 2 goals. What is that? 8 goals from guys who were either not in the lineup, 2 months ago, or firmly not scoring enough.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Like they're playing all their players, and then they're getting contributions from throughout their lineup. And I think we've seen over the years, Struds, like where the Oilers get in trouble is when they're leaning too heavily on their big guys, and then you end up with a bunch of other guys sitting there on the bench waiting for their turn, not feeling like they're part of it, not as engaged. And I think that's just a natural consequence of having 2 brilliant players like McDavid and Draisaitl. But Chris Knobloch's really gone out of his way here and made the effort to engage everybody. And I haven't been in an NHL room, Struds, but you tell me the difference between the energy and enthusiasm and the way the group feels about itself when everybody's pulling on the rope versus what we have seen at times, which is just you're out there filling time until the big guys can go out there.
And it's such a difference. And I think that the injuries at the end of the year allowed some of these players to play more and get their legs underneath them. And it does make a difference. Like playing 8 or 12 or 13 minutes, it's a big difference. That's, it's a minute and a half. That's a couple extra shifts every period. Makes a big difference. So, you look back and think of last night, the goal that Janmark scored, it proved to be the game winner. It was a massive goal, and the reaction by all of them, they were so happy. It looked like his first goal, right? It was absolutely fantastic. So I'm now looking ahead to tomorrow. The Kings are flying up here. The Oilers are flying up to Edmonton or flying home. And is there any chance that Jim Hiller decides he's going to maybe mix up his lines so he can play 4 lines and try to keep pace? Because right now the Oilers are going 4 versus 3 lines for the Kings. So does Turcotte maybe move up? Do you move someone down to give, maybe put Lewis back in and move hit in just so he can play 4 lines? The D, I think they're stuck at 4. I don't know how else. I guess you can maybe split up a couple guys, Gavrikov, Joel Edmondson. They maybe play with a Brandt Clark and a Spence or something to change the look, to get more guys on the ice, at least for a period.
So Brandt Clark, what's he averaging? I got him at 12.24 here a game. So they're top 4 defensemen by minutes. Doughty at 27.02. Anderson at 26.33. Edmondson at 24.02. Gavrikov at 21.53. So there's your 4, all up over 20 minutes. And then the drop off is down to Clark at 12.24, Spence at 6.41, and really that's been about it. So, as far as the blue line goes, do you think it's more of an issue with the forwards playing the bigger minutes or the blue liners playing the bigger minutes? Like you should probably, to Zubie's point, be able to bump Brandt Clark up to 16 minutes a night, you would think. You can rely on that guy for that. I know he's young, but get him engaged, and you're going to have to lean on him. Like, I think I don't know about a complete redo of the line, Struds, but maybe just go to more guys and trust them and try and stick with it a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily mess with what worked through the first couple of games. Really, the Kings through the first 3 games of the series, were the better team most of the games. Yeah. Through most of those games. So I think maybe you stay with that, but just spread it out. Spread it out.
They could do the old Oilers trick, which is drop a Kopitar, drop a Byfield in between some wingers just to give someone else some minutes, right? So yep. I don't know, but
like 21.48 for Kopitar. I don't think at this stage in his career over 20 minutes is smart for that guy. I think you're diminishing returns.
I agree, but the problem is they have to change something, right? I'm looking at him. Yeah. You can't do the same thing, expect a different result, because what's happening is that the D-men are getting less and less up the ice. Like, think back to the first game. Brandt Clark scores a backdoor tap in on the power play. Have we seen a lot of Kings D-men jumping in lately? No, we haven't. They're not there. They're unable to get up because they're sitting back on their own blue line, waiting for the Oilers to come down and take it to them. So, I talked to some buddies today. They're like, well, they're going to forecheck harder. Yeah, I think they should. But when I hear Jim Hiller talking post-game that we have to tighten up even more, that is the absolute opposite of what a forecheck is all about.
Maybe they should just try playing Kempe on the blue line for the whole game, Struds. Just start to finish. Make him a defenseman. I'm still shaking my head that on a night where they needed a goal and they needed offense and they were chasing it, they decided to play their best offensive player on the blue line, and he was under 20 minutes in that game. That's mind-numbing stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's funny. You look at the Oilers when they played their best the last couple of years, is when they're rolling 4 lines. Mm-hmm. And this is the first time I think they all year, the best game we've seen them playing all 4 lines. I think tomorrow, Knoblock's going to stick to that. He's going to roll out 4 lines, line after line after line, and get after them and say, guys, we play the same way every time. Because every line right now is constructed has a guy that can score, a heavier body, and a smart center. I think he likes the way those are set up because it's hard when I played against lines. Like I remember when the Carolina Hurricanes won their Stanley Cup, Oilers fans. They didn't have any superstars. They had a lot of good players, but every line was the same. Every line was the same. Like, are you kidding me? Yeah. They can score on us. They can forecheck. They can hit us. And it didn't matter. Just take the names off the back. We're just one team coming at you all the time. And that's when I think of really good teams. It's shift after shift. They're always the same. So I think Knoblock's got to roll those 4. And I'd start the third line again. I love the message that sends to that line and to the team saying it's going to take everyone tonight, guys.
Yeah, we'll learn something about this Oiler team tomorrow night because I think, we know that they weren't together to finish the regular season, Struds, and they didn't really have their lines and D pairings together. They didn't really have like this stride that they could hit each game where you're like looking at them going, oh man, are they ever playoff ready? And the Kings really missed an opportunity coming into this series to take advantage of a very disjointed Edmonton team. And now the Oilers have been able to find their footing. More players have found their footings, and they're getting better contributions. And so that game last night, for the first time in the series, the Oilers really did come out and dictate. But there's this sense of urgency, right? It's game 3. You're trying to go up 3-2. You're trying to avoid going down. It changes tomorrow night. The sense of urgency, fighting for their lives is LA's. Can Edmonton come out and do again what they did this last game? And that'll tell me it's not just about a team that can conjure it up when they're down or behind the 8 ball or, when they're faced with adversity, but do they have a killer instinct as a group? And if they come out and play the way they did, that's a real good indication moving forward because it tells you they've got their killer instinct intact.
Rishaug, I 100%. And I look forward to this game. I keep thinking what's going to look like. And I think we know, and I think the Oilers know what they want to do. Buddy, I appreciate this. Go do your 20 or 60-minute elliptical workout in 17 minutes like you normally do. And we want to hear all about it on the pod tomorrow night after this Oilers game 6 versus the Kings.
All right. Say hi to Dartmouth Dragon for me or whoever you're having on next. What the hell did you call him? Daryl Dragon.
Oh my God.
That's an all-timer, Struddy.
I know. That's a special one. Daryl Dragon. Yeah, he's never going to be a guest again when he hears that.
Daryl Dragon.
Chris Johnson.
Just slow it down. Just slow it down. All right. See you, pal. Have a good show.
See you, buddy. Ryan Rishaug. That was getting up to speed. All right. Let's step out here really quick. When we come back, we'll get to Darren Dreger, or as his friends like to call him, Daryl Dragon. Next on the pod. We'll be right back.
For over 60 years, Belvedere Golf and Country Club has delivered a high-quality membership experience to Edmonton and area. And now it's even better. Drainage and irrigation improvements in 2024 have taken course conditions to a new level. This commitment to long-term sustainability means exceptional playing conditions all season long. Belvedere's tee sheet availability is unmatched, so join now and experience golf the way it was meant to be played, on your schedule. Visit BelvedereGCC.com today.
Join over 250,000 Canadians who have upgraded to Canada's best mattress. Douglas is proudly made in Canada and ships directly to your door for free. Douglas is easy to set up. Enjoy perfectly balanced comfort and an easy-to-clean machine-washable cover. Get a free sleep bundle with your Douglas mattress. Try risk-free for 365 nights. Get your Douglas mattress today.
If you're considering a vinyl fence, don't be fooled by cheap marketplace imitations. Get top quality vinyl fence from a trusted company with 20 years in the industry. With locations in Calgary and Edmonton, check out dlrvinylproducts.ca.
McDavid and Draisaitl.
All right, thanks everyone for tuning in here this lunchtime. Hope you have a nice little lunch. Let's now bring in Struddy's buddy, Darren Dreger, brought to you by HSC Core Services. If you're a small to medium-sized business, HSC Core has your back when it comes to health and safety compliance. From creating and managing a tailored health and safety program that meets all legislation and COR requirements, HSC Core supports clients' operations every step of the way. Visit www.hsccore.com. That's hsccor.com for more info. Dregs, how are you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing okay. And so as you're introducing the segment, Struddy's buddies,
Yes.
and I'm a buddy, clearly, I'm thinking of our combined snake oil salesman, Ryan Rishaug. And the fact that he hasn't marketed Struddy's buddies yet in a hat or I don't know, like whatever, you know, he's always onto that kind of thing, unless it has to come out of his end of the deal and out of his pocket. And then he just links you to some website where you can go and order whatever you want. And maybe Struddy's World gets like a half a cent per item kickback on it, you know?
Yeah, long, and it's deferred kickback. You don't get it for a number of years, right?
Exactly.
So that's how it works. Dregs got to start there with the Toronto Maple Leafs, have an opportunity to close out at home against Ottawa Senators. And I thought that second goal was the shorthanded one by Dylan Cousins really kind of kicked them in the nuts there. And I know there was still game left, but what did you see last night from the Leafs? They were unable to close out against the Sens.
No. Well, I mean, it's always the same thing, right? It's a collective here. Now, you give Ottawa credit because Ottawa played a really strong playoff road game, almost to perfection, in fact. So they get the first goal by Shabbat, and then they just played their game. They're a very structured team. For the inexperience that they have, well coached by Travis Green and company. So it's not like that second goal to Shorty was forced. I mean, that is just an all-world giveaway by Austin Matthews on his own goal line. You know, he's trying to force something. Instead, Ottawa goes back the other way. I mean, Adam Gaudette isn't the fastest skater in the league by a wide margin.
Yeah.
And there he goes up that left side. Dylan Cousins on the ice with Ridley Gregg in the penalty box, and they just make it work. And you could see, like, Willie Nylander was water skiing behind Dylan Cousins. He wasn't going to catch him. And that was just a damning 2-0 lead at that point. And then Ottawa opened it up with the empty nets. I didn't think that Toronto was poor in that game. I just think, as I said, Ottawa was really, really good. And as it is becoming more apparent, and I'm going to read this because as we were teeing up the segment, Steve Simmons from the Toronto Sun tweeted something, and it's obvious. I mean, we can all go through the math here, but he goes, goals in the Battle of Ontario, Austin Matthews won, Nylander won, Mitch Marner won. Last year, Matthews led the NHL in goal scoring. This year, Nylander was second, of course, in the league. In Edmonton, you've got McDavid and Leon Draisaitl combined for 20 points in 5 games played. And that's what a Canadian market is all about. So Toronto is about to feast the media, the fan base, especially if this thing stretches into a Game 7 scenario on Saturday.
Yeah, unbelievable. And you know, it wasn't like the Sens have been out of it. There's been a lot of overtime games here as well, right? Like this has been a closer series than maybe that now or prior to this, the results showed. Dregs, another team feeling some pressure are the Winnipeg Jets, and Connor Hellebuck has not been good on the road. Now he is coming back to the friendly confines of Manitoba, but is it more than just Connor Hellebuck, or is it on his shoulders to get this done?
Well, I mean, given how significant he is, the influence he has in the regular season. I mean, he's going to tap in another Vezina. I mean, back to back, his third career. But he's also got now a developing reputation of not being that big game guy. And I've tried to push back on that historically. It's hard to do that now. It really is. And look, the Winnipeg Jets would say, hey, it's not all on Helly. You know, we've gotten away from our structure. We haven't committed to the game that, you know, went wire to wire in the regular season, helped us win the President's Trophy. And those two things go hand in hand. So I do expect that Winnipeg will find its form again. But I defer to a good friend of yours, Noodles, you know, the goalie gurus who say, look, we're seeing a different mechanical approach to Hellebuck. You know, he used to come out. Now he's backing into his net. So what is it? It's an ugly combination, really, is what it is. And Struddy, I had an experienced coach who's not in the playoffs, but shared with me the other day. He's like, and this is just a philosophical thing, but back-to-back games in St. Louis, the Winnipeg Jets take it right between the eyes. That second, so they pull Hellebuck in game 3 in the third period. All right, okay, that's fine. That's message sending. That's giving him a break, all of those things. Then they pull him again in the third period of game 4 when the game is out of hand. It's over. Yeah. And the response I got from this coach was, leave him in the fight, right? I mean, he's not doing anything to keep this game close. He let in a couple of tough ones. Why does he get a free pass? And I guess the mindset to thinking, if you're Scotty O'Neill and the coaches would be, all right, let's get him mentally starting to think about game 5 back in Winnipeg on home ice. But obviously he needs to be a lot better. But again, those who defend the Jets and Connor Hellebuck would say they've got to be better in front of him.
The Vancouver Canucks have now, in the last little while, lost JT Miller. He was traded away, competitive, highly skilled guy. And now Rick Tocchet, a competitive and well-respected coach, walks away from the team. What signals, or are there any signals being sent to the rest of the league and to other potential coaches about what's happening with the Canucks moving forward?
Well, if we start with Talk, I can share this with you. He was having conversations with management going into the weekend, Struddy, about, okay, I'm going to pay close attention to individual players, how they're training in the offseason, keep in touch with them, make sure that they know we care, all of those things. You know, we're going to make some tweaks to training camp and all of that. So that was a conversation that Talk had participated in going into the weekend. Now, you know, they wanted to extend him, and he said, okay, well, I'm looking at your 5-year offer, and I don't know what the money was, but it was significant. It would have been a lot. So he had all that to chew on, and he said, I'll get back to you as early as Sunday, as late as Monday. Well, Sunday rolls through, Monday rolls through, the Canucks haven't heard. Well, it's pretty clear at that point that Rick Tocchet likely isn't going to accept the contract offer. So the Canucks get a call from both his agent and from Rick on Tuesday morning to say, sorry, I'm out. Now, automatically, if you're management ownership in Vancouver, you're probably pissed off. But in fairness, they respected his honesty and the fact that he pushed away from a 5-year mega contract. He did. I mean, he could have accepted the money, but his heart wasn't obviously entirely in it. Emotionally spent, all of those things. So he says, nope, I just need to step away. So what's curious now is, what does that mean? You know, is he stepping away to get back into the TV world where, you know, cushy guys like me just kind of rumble into a studio, we say our piece, and then we go home and we sleep like babies at night? Or is he going to look at the interest that he has from Philadelphia and probably from Pittsburgh? Don't know. But it is going to be interesting what approach now the Canucks take. I think they need an experienced guy. What I'm told by people I trust there is that, and you'd feel the same way in Edmonton, same way here in Toronto, if you're not a person who can't manage the criticism, all of the noise, the day in and day out pestering of the media, you know, the ebb and flow of the fan base, then you're not the right candidate for a head coaching job in Canada. So there's a lot of factors that'll go into Vancouver's next hire.
Yeah, it's huge. And one last one here for you. When you look at the situation with Aaron Ekblad, he had a 20-game suspension for PD and then recently got a 2-game for throwing a massive chicken wing at Brendan Hagel, a massive one. Are those two things? Oh, it was crazy. Are those two things related, or do you treat them separately because they're truly different reasons for suspensions?
I think they were treated separately, to be fair, because you're right. You don't have one that really influenced or his response to the play on the ice. The second one, 100%. I mean, he earned that suspension. 2 games felt a little strong for me, to be fair,
Agreed.
because you do the multiplier, right? And 2 games equates to 4 games if we're talking about regular season versus playoffs. But you look at it, okay, Brandon Hagel has been declared out of Game 5. He's not available to the Tampa Bay Lightning, so that has to factor in as well. The injury always matters. But I don't know if you caught Chris Pronger or not. I always go to prongs on a myriad of things. And to be fair, I'm paraphrasing. I didn't talk to him about it, but I saw him on a podcast this morning where he kind of defended the official because, as you know, there wasn't a penalty called on the ice. Right. And we can see the official staring or looking right at the play, but he kind of glances and made me do a double take. So that's why I have a deep respect for guys like you, Prongs, who play the game and you look for different things than I might look at. It looks so blatantly obvious, but it wasn't because the official kind of glares to the left. And then because it's his right forearm, it's also protected. Ekblad's a good sized guy. So he didn't catch it as clearly as the rest of us did in the 10, TV video replays we saw. But I do think they got it right. I think 2 games is appropriate given the injury to Hagel.
And no Hagel. That's a big deal for Tampa Bay for sure. Dregs, you guys got a new podcast out. You and who's your partner again? Ray? Is it Ray Ferraro?
Yeah, Raymond, I think he wants to be called now.
Ray
it's
and
kind
Dregs.
of a big deal.
Yeah. A new one out, and that just come out today.
Just today. Yeah, I tell you what, a lot of meat on the bone as there is in Struddy's world. I mean, there's so much going on off ice with all the news, the coaches, the suspensions. And there's a ton of hockey being played here in the first round. So it's a meaty one, as our buddy Jeff O'Neill, I'm getting all confused with my names, O-Dog, likes to call certain segments. So it's out there now. Thanks, Trey.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks a lot for this, and say hello to my good friend Raymond for me next time we talk.
I will for sure. And Jason O'Neill, he's a good guy too.
Yeah, great guy. All right, Dregs, thanks, buddy. Great. Those are great stuff there from our buddy Darren Dreger. Obviously, the suspension's a pretty big deal. For Ekblad, let's get into it now, Zoobs, and get caught up with the playoff picture and where we're at. And that is brought to you by Peyton by Michaela. If your home interior is feeling dull or outdated, Painted by Michaela knows fresh coats are in season all year round. From winter to summer, their dependable quality service delivers a clean, flawless finish every time, done by professionals you can trust. Proudly serving the Edmonton area, they are ready to transform your space. Call 780-935-8608 today. So Zubie, there's not a lot of series over, 1 out of 8. So we got to get a lot of work done here.
Yeah, let's take a look at the bracket. So we got Leafs up 3-2 over Ottawa, Florida 3-1 over Tampa, Washington 3-1 over Montreal. And look at the West here. Every game going, I guess other than Winnipeg, St. Louis will, because it's not an elimination game. Every series going to at least 6 games. And as we discussed on the show last week, Struddy, the Zubie Matrix, let's call it. If you want to win the Cup, you got to get a team out of here in the first round before Game 7. So lots of teams teetering on that here. We'll see how many of those 6s in the West turn into Game 7s. But I always love the first round. And this year, this is no exception. This is really good. Sometimes you get a few sweeps in there. No sweeps, only 1 series over at this point in time. Fabulous first round so far. So lots to keep our eyes on.
And I hope Devils and Canes fans don't take this wrong way, but no one cared about that series.
No.
Let's just be honest. No, of all the series to be over, that one's over first. Okay, that's fine because we just don't care. Now, it'll be interesting as they move forward, the Canes, but the Devils with their injuries, no Jack Hughes, it's a very small team, the Devils, they got to get bigger. You're just like, okay, I'm glad it's over.
There could have been some intrigue there if that team was healthy, but were decimated. So get them out of there quickly, and we'll see what the Canes. I don't think we have a true picture of what the Canes have either until they get a tougher opponent. But they did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, let's duck out here really quick. When we come back, we'll get to playing the field and then getting off the fence. I will tell you which of the opening coaches' jobs is the most appealing, in my opinion, in the NHL. Stay with us. Tell a friend. Thanks for joining us here at lunch. If you get a chance, hit the thumb button. We'll be right back.
McDonald's new cheesy jalapeno and bacon quarter pounder with 100% Canadian beef is here. So if you crave beefy burgers with a pretty peppery punch and pickled jalapeno peppers piled in a perfect bunch, and if you please if a cheesy taste came in threes with cheesy jalapeno pepper sauce poured with ease, and if smoky strips of bacon make burgers better, you'll love our cheesy jalapeno and bacon quarter pounder. Get this beefy, bold, bacony, melty mouthful only at McDonald's for a limited time.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
Dennis here from Weiss Johnson. Are you looking to get into the trades or have a kid graduating high school wondering what to do? Weiss Johnson is looking for career-minded people to work for us. Opportunities truly are endless. Become a service technician, gas fitter, refrigeration technician, install residential or commercial heating and plumbing systems, fireplace installations or service, duct cleaning. We are the company where you can learn all aspects of the trade and pick which career path to take. We have an awesome benefits package and offer school reimbursement too. Visit wjcareers.com today.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We've got a great crowd, and we love sharing our insight with you on Struddy's World. Let's get to Playing the Field, brought to you by Play Alberta, the official gambling partner of your favorite Alberta sports team. Whatever jersey you wear, Play Alberta is rooting for you to have fun. Bet on your favorites, get in on odds boosts, and make the playoffs more interesting. Get a $50 free bet this month by depositing with code GYBO4 at playalberta.ca. Just came out this morning. Ted Lindsay Award. So the Ted Lindsay Award is voted on by the players. In their mind, the MVP of the league. The three are surprising to me. Here they are, in no particular order. Nathan McKinnon, Colorado Avalanche. Cale Makar, Colorado Avalanche. And then Kucherov, Tampa Bay Lightning. So that means no Leon Draisaitl, no Connor Hellebuck. When I'm looking at this, I think that it's clear that with Leon having missed as much time as he did at the end of the year, it hurt his chances. But he still won the most goals, even though he didn't play all the games. He had the most goals in the league, the Rockin' Rishaug. So I thought this was a slam dunk for him to be awarded this, or at least in the running for this.
Yeah.
And I think this should maybe prepare Oilers fans for the Hart Trophy voting, if this is how the players think. So I was very surprised that, again, no Leon Draisaitl as a finalist in the Ted Lindsay Award voted on by the players, the MVP.
Yeah, it's very surprised. How does it work, Stu? Does every player vote? Did you vote like when you were playing?
Yeah.
Every player votes.
Oh, I took it. I took it pretty seriously. When I was younger, I remember a couple guys telling me who to vote for, and I was like, yeah, I guess, they've been around. And not that they said vote for me, but they vote like, they're just kind of, we just voted for what they thought. Hey, this is the guy who should get the votes. But looking back on, I took a lot of time and thought about it, and I thought it was important to make the right choice. So just so people know, Kucherov 121 points, Nathan McKinnon 116, Leon Draisaitl had 106, and that was tied with Pasternak for third. Now, some context, Kucherov and McKinnon both played 78, 79 games, Leon 71 games. Leon had 52 goals. Those guys had 37 and 32.
Yeah, it doesn't seem right. When you're what's the ballot like, Struddy? Do you vote like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or how many guys do you get to vote for? Do you remember?
As I recall, I might be wrong. It was just one name. You just put a name on there. Right. So how do you spell Strudwick again? No, just kidding.
Just one D, guys. Just one D.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just, as I recall, it was one vote.
Yeah. I mean, the part of it, I don't know. I guess this is voted on by the player. So maybe it's not the same argument. You'd make the argument that if Austin Matthews won the Rocket Richard and only played 70 games that he'd be there, but maybe that's more about the Hart Trophy conversation than it is about this. I just, I read someone's tweet. I'm sorry, I'm not giving them credit because I don't remember who it was, but I'll just say it wasn't my idea, that somebody said, that in 70 games, this guy still led the league in the most difficult, individual category that there is, and that they were surprised that's not recognized. And I'm kind of surprised that Connor Hellebuck, for all the talk that he gets in the Hart Trophy world, again, I would have thought he'd be the third name there. But I guess it shows. Does it show respect for the game, for Cale Makar and what he does as a defenseman, Struddy?
I know that you're going to say this is biased, but I 100% agree, because I think Cale Makar should be on there. So that means if I want to have Hellebuck or Leon on there, I have to take the leading or second leading scorer in the league off the ballot. So I'll say that again. I'm going to have to take off Kucherov or McKinnon, the two leading scorers, one of the two, because I want to have a D-man on there to get Hellebuck on. So then I'm taking McKinnon off. Yeah. But he probably doesn't deserve to come off either. But just like I think Leon should be on the ballot, I don't think McKinnon should come off. You can't take the leading scorer of the league off, and I want Makar on there. So that has one place then for really three guys, right? McKinnon, Leon, and Hellebuck. So I get it. I'm not going to lose my mind and call every player or text them all saying they're idiots, but it just shows how tight it was this year. But I do think we may see this as a reflection of the Hart Trophy when that's announced coming up.
And just for clarity, of Noel Rinsky chiming in, it was actually his tweet. He's all over Twitter. It was actually his tweet, and as I recall. So credit to Noel, a very good insight there.
And then I guess he was an Oiler a long time ago, when he was an Oiler for quite a long time, was traded from Chicago to Carolina. It was kind of an afterthought in many ways. Well, Taylor Hall today signed a 3-year extension. It's about $3.5 million a year for 3 years. And I remember he hurt his knee last year, and he came through Edmonton, and it looked like his skating was compromised. He wasn't playing. It wasn't getting an opportunity. He was on the fourth line. Carolina recognized something, brought him in, and he did well for them. He's put up good numbers for them since arriving, along with some of the others in those whirlwind of trades that they had, which I think is really important. But he gets an extension. Again, 31 games, 9 goals, 9 assists. 18 points, and that gets him $3.5 million for the next 3 years. I like the speed. I like what he brings, and he's 31 years old now. So this gets him probably near or closer to the end of his career.
Yeah, 33. I think you might have just said 31 in error, but
sorry.
He's 33.
33. Yeah.
And also I think worth noting about, I don't know the exact number here, but about those points in the regular season points, he went, I believe, his first 7-8 games without a point there.
Right.
So he ended up with those 18 points in, a 20, low 20s number of games, if I recall correctly. So he seemed to find some chemistry with that team. He's got 3 points in the 5 playoff games they played. I mean, it seems like a decent deal for the team, but what do you think, Stray? If you're Carolina team, you're still in the mix. Do you feel like that's a team-friendly deal, or do you think they could have got him for even less?
When I look at where the salary cap's going and where he's at, and he is a confident player, and he can skate and he can make plays and he can score for you. So at $3.5 million, do I think he's going to score as much as Arvidsson? Do I think he's going to score as much as Jeff Skinner? Right. If you're that, I mean, I think you can feel pretty comfortable in that, right? So that's the money right around. Of right now, who would you rather have? Taylor Hall, Arvidsson, or Jeff Skinner? Just to bring it home to Oilers fans.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear. And the money, I think Arvidsson is actually $4.5 million.
Yeah,
so I think it's pretty. Yeah, so I think it's pretty clear where that comes out. So I think that this is a deal that will work for the Canes. They'll find offense, and he can play, kind of bounce around your lineup. And bring some pace to a lineup that likes to play fast. So I like this deal for both sides. And you're right, he is 33. I was giving him a couple less birthday candles there.
The deciding factor will probably, ultimately probably be if he can stay healthy, because he's really had trouble with that, unfortunately, for the past he's only played a full season one. He played an 82 game season and an 81 game season. And other than that, they've all been truncated, if you will.
100%. So congrats to him, and we'll see what happens. The Canes get a nice break here. That's never a bad thing, I don't think, in the first round after beating New Jersey last night.
Yeah.
That was playing the field, and now it's time to get off the fence. Brought to you by our good buddies at DLR Vinyl Products. As Alberta's #1 vinyl product supplier, DLR offers top quality materials to build a fence or a deck that won't rot, fade, or fall apart. If you need a skilled contractor to take care of the job or prefer a DIY approach, DLR can help set you up with all you need. Canadian owned and operated with locations in Calgary and Edmonton. Visit them today online at dlrvinylproducts.ca. There are 8 spots for coaches in the NHL. I'll outline them in case you forget. The Penguins, the Seattle Kraken, the Ducks, Hawks, Canucks, Rangers, Flyers, and who am I missing there? I can't read my own writing. I'm missing someone there. Anyways, there's 8 teams, and one team I'm sorry I can't even read them. But anyways, there's 8 teams that are up for grabs for head coaching spots in the NHL. There's one to me that's top of all of them, who should be the top spot for head coach. It's not the Hawks. The Hawks are a long ways away. The Rangers, I think they've got to solve a lot of issues. They're not a young team, and I'm not sure that they want to play defense, the guys that they do have. The Canucks, they're emotional basket case right now. I'm not sure what's going on with them, so I would not be interested there. The Flyers, they're rebuilding. The Penguins, I think the sun is setting there on that group. Seattle Kraken, I think they're an average team. So I'm looking at a team up and coming. I'm going to California. You know I love the California Sun. Anaheim Ducks. This is the group. They've got good young players. Their specialty teams are a disaster. So a coach that is dialed into that and can find find help and assistant coaches that can build those guys up, get people in the right positions, maybe a trade here or there to bolster those things, to upgrade them. I'm willing to believe in my bet on myself that I can help their specialty teams. They've got talent. They may have too many young defensemen, may have to move one of those guys out to add another player, maybe an older player, someone who's 27, 28. They can help that group kind of figure it out. They've got the young goalie. They're probably going to trade their older goalie, the one that many people think should be coming to the Edmonton Oilers, but I don't think will. There's a lot of things to look forward to, including some young prospects and players and draft picks that will be coming. The Ducks are up and coming. Cronin, I think, was suited to the job, but now they need a teacher and someone who can really understand and teach these guys the game. That's the job I want if I'm a coach coming up, Zubes.
Yeah, they showed some nice improvement, I think, in the second half of the season. And there's lots of young talent there, without a doubt. And can they get that talent all kind of pointing in the same direction and playing the same way? And is Trevor Zegras a part of that future there or not? Yep. And if he's playing to his potential, even if he doesn't fit there, there's a better return for him somewhere than they would have got for him this year. If it were me, and I don't think this is an easy pick, but I still feel like the Rangers job is the one, because you're a year removed from winning did they win the President's Trophy? I mean, they were, or at least they won the East. They're a year removed from that. They're older. It was a bad year and there was drama, but I still feel like that's the job that I feel like you could flip back. No one's expecting the Ducks to be a contender in 1, 2, 3 years. But I think there's the upside that you could flip the Rangers back. The right guy could flip that team back with the talent that they have, with the goaltender that they have. Lots of excitement still in that city. They're dying for that team to be a winner again. So to me, I don't think the Rangers is an easy job, but I think there's tons of potential to flip that one back quickly and become a contender.
Yeah, I think short term, that's the team. Like short term, you can probably get them going, but they're aging. I realized that team I missed, the Boston Bruins.
Right.
So I apologize to all the Boston Bruins fans out there. I think they're a team in transition as well. They traded a lot away. They'll have a decent pick this year. They can move up, but unfortunately, that pick probably won't help them right away. Fraser Minton's a nice pickup from Toronto.
Yeah.
And your point's well made about the Rangers. So, I'm looking around, Mike Sullivan, is he a guy that wants to travel out to Anaheim? Well, I read today that it sounds like he wants to stay out east. Does Rick Tocchet want to go to Anaheim? He loves the beach, and I'm sure he loves having a tan, maybe. But that's a bit of a project, right? There's going to be a lot of teaching in there. You hear Joe Quenneville, a highly motivated coach with a tainted past, and that has to be dealt with, just like with Stan Bowman.
Yeah.
But he had a team in Chicago that was very similar, right? With a lot of talent like Duncan Keith, Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, Brent Seabrook, and he was able to teach those guys how to play the game the way that he feels would be successful long term. So there might make sense. There's some rumbles that he might be the guy there, and maybe that does make sense. Now, obviously, there's a lot that goes in with that, and a lot of explaining had to do. But I think that Joe Quenneville would be a nice hire there, and a very, very motivated guy to prove that he is he's learned from what happened in the past, but he can also help a young developing team. The only problem with the Ducks, they usually have an internal cap, so you're not going to spend to the max. And I think that's a concern. If I'm a coach, I want to know what that cap is. And I think that you're always at a disadvantage if you don't go right up to the cap like other teams. So let's say you're 10 million less. That's 2 really good players, right? Or 1 complete stud. And that makes me worried, Zoobs.
Yeah.
If I'm
and that's great. I mean, I can see teams having internal caps as there's big jumps in the cap coming, but to have that, even though, I mean, I guess revenue, might be an issue for them, ticket revenue or whatever. But that seems with a stagnant cap, a flat cap for 3-4 years here, that would be concerning to me for sure, that it's that you're not willing to spend up to that. Especially when you've got some nice young pieces coming up, you need to fill it out with some vets or try to find a stud free agent.
Interesting. Neither of us even mentioned the Canucks, a team that was very strong last year. And this year, it just feels like it's coming unraveled. They'll have the offseason to prove it, and they got to prove to a coach that they are able to get it done. So 8 teams looking for coaches. 8 teams, which is crazy, man. It's a quarter of the teams.
And hey, if you ask Brownie, if this Oilers series ends on Thursday, there's going to be 9 if Brownie was in charge.
You know what? I'd agree with him. I think that Hiller is just, with the 9 top forwards he has, to not play them to be more aggressive and assertive. I can't get behind it. Now, maybe he doesn't feel he has the depth. I'm not sure, but let's see what happens in the next 2 games. Okay, that was Get Off the Fence, brought to you by our good buddies at DLR Vinyl Products. Now it's time for you to speak. Chime up in the stream. Time for Ask Struds, brought to you by our good buddies at McDonald's. The new cheesy jalapeno and bacon quarter pounder is here. It's got jalapeno pepper sauce, pickled jalapeno peppers, and crisp bacon. All that is on a quarter pounder made with 100% Canadian beef patty produced just around the corner in Spruce Grove, Alberta. Only at McDonald's for a limited time, so try it today. Zubie, what are the people saying and what do they want to know?
Interesting thought here from Noel Rinsky. I think you'd probably like this. He says, if you were the coach, would you start one of the depth lines for tomorrow night's game if you're Edmonton? Would you give one of those other guys the vote of confidence?
Not even a question. Of course they would. I believe they started the third line last game. If I recall, I think it was Frederick with Brown and Henrique. And I love that because you know what? It empowers those guys to say, hey, it's like starting a game is important. People think you just look out there and you get your hair done and you want to look nice. It's an important thing because you can set the tone for your team. So I loved it when they started a third or fourth line. How many times last year did we see Brown, Janmark, and Henrique go out there last year? It's so important. And then you come back with Connor or Leon or, whoever. So I love the tone it sets and it empowers that line. So yes, 100% Rico's line out to start after the anthem is rockin' in Rogers Place.
To that end, Avi Hoffman saying Oilers crowd is about to be insanely electric tomorrow night. What does it feel like, Struddy, to be out there and feel that electricity and that atmosphere?
It's such a good feeling to be out there. And I didn't have a ton of deep playoff runs, but I was on the ice a few times when the fans got rocking. And it's so much fun. And you're just so excited. So you want to channel that energy, but you don't want to be out of control. and it's a very fine line. It's a very, very fine line. So you have to say, okay, well, I want to come out, but I have to contain this enthusiasm, but use it to keep going. And what I want for the Oilers fans tomorrow night is for the Oilers to be able to sing Your Love or play Your Love and Living on a Prayer. Because that's what they usually play when they're up late in the third period and the fans start singing. God, that to me is like a drug. I would be singing with all my heart if that was my team and I was sitting on the bench.
Especially if you're ticking it down. If the scoreboard looks good and you're ticking down the last 5 or 6 minutes, that must be pretty special. All right, I think I know where you're going to go with this one, but I do think this is interesting. Our pal Nick Biskupek says, had a debate with my buddies last night. Who is better, Crosby or Messier? Now, I know you got one of those guys on the wall behind you, so I think you might lean that way. But that's a two pretty interesting guys to put head-to-head. Would you agree?
Yeah, and I think they'd have massive respect for each other, the way that they both play, the way they both lead. Messier, he talks about leadership all the time. And who better? In NHL history, talk about leadership. Well, maybe Sidney Crosby. I mean, he just goes out and does his business every single night. Every night he comes and he's prepared to deliver and prepared to go. As far as, comparing them, God, it's like comparing your two kids that you love both a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I could even pick one because they're so similar, but different in a lot of ways. Like Mark Messier was out there playing for keeps. Well, so does Sidney Crosby. Now, he might not express it in the same way. He doesn't maybe accidentally hit someone with a flying elbow coming across the middle. But he's in there competing every night. So, God, if I had to start a team, I'd probably take Messier, but it's just past a coin toss, if you know what I mean, Zoobs.
Yeah. Nick did say on the stream that he was in the discussion. He was taking Messier. I guess oh man. I mean, Messier was my favorite player as a kid. I guess I'll make it the clean sweep, but it's just that simple. I could go the other way and not 100%. feel like I was doing anyone a disservice. So that is a really interesting head-to-head for sure. Jay Pintero, he said the Kings fans cursed them when they wouldn't stop bullying Skinner. There's been people using that term, that they were bullying Stu Skinner by chanting his name after he was already off the ice. There are limits to that kind of stuff. Do you think there are limits to that kind of stuff? Do you think anything the Kings fans did went too far?
I don't at all. I think that's what the playoffs are about. And as a hockey player, you sign up for that. Now, if they start chanting your child's name or they're, going, well, then it's over. But when you play a professional sport, the fans come and they can chirp you from a distance the whole time. And I love it when they, even in the other night, Rogers Place, there's camper, like they're going on. And I'm here for it. Like, that's what sports is about. We want more people chanting things. And it's not like it's personal. You're not chanting out your mom's name or something like that. It is part of it. Now, I just want to make the point. I believe that Skinner is going to be needed. I think as Pickard's the rest of the series, but Skinner will be needed. His upside is higher, or his ceiling's higher than what I believe Pickard's is, but not for the rest of this series.
Right.
It'll fall under Pickard. And believe me, Rogers Place will be rocking last night with the Kemper, or tomorrow night with the Kemper chance for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you get into making threats or, it's things online, getting too personal. Yeah. That's going too far. But I think within what was going on in the rink there in LA, I was okay with it. Dallas Scarlett chimes in and says, does Jay Woodcroft make sense in Vancouver? His demeanor and style could seemingly handle Vancouver media and dressing room issues. What do you think of Jay Wood? His name is in the... makes the rounds when there's coaching vacancies. Do you see him being a fit in Vancouver?
Yeah, I was wrong. I thought that he'd have a job by now. I honestly thought he'd have a job now. He'll have learned a lot from his first time through a head coach. And I think that there's a lot of underlying intensity in Jay, and I get it, but you can't really show it. And I think you have to be calmer. And because the players, we can feel it when you're really rattled and really intense, you can feel it. You have to be calm. And I think Knoblock, you don't know what he's doing. Sometimes I think he's doing a Wordle on the bench. He looks so calm. And you feed off that as a player. He's probably good at Wordle, right, Zubes?
Oh, absolutely.
So I think for Jay, he has to manage that and not show it there, and then maybe let things go a little bit. Like, maybe let other people do their job, the less micromanaging. But that's, I think, the first time coaching. You want to do everything. You want to be in charge of everything. You want to make sure everything's perfect. But I thought he'd have a job already. I truly did. Now there's 8 jobs up for availability. I'd like to think he gets one, because I think Jay's a really good guy, and I hope it does work out for him. Or even if not, I think he's got to get going as assistant coach and work his way up, because you can't sit out too long. Otherwise, you get out of that cycle.
I think Chris Knoblock probably takes about 15 minutes to do a Wordle, though. I think it's probably very deliberate. Okay, we've got 2 quick ones here. We'll have Mike Tyson say, hey, Struddy, what lineup changes would you make, if any? Run it back, same lineups. What are you doing for Game 6? Anything?
Mike Tyson, you're my favorite boxer. Thank you for joining. I didn't realize you're such a fan. The most important thing that Knoblock can do is play all 4 lines. And I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, as much as I can. Short, quick shifts, and just overwhelm the Kings with what we call out-changing them. So what you want to do is you almost want to go 2 for 1. So 2 of your lines go out for 1 of their lines. And so if they're going, let's say, a minute, you go 40 seconds. So you kind of keep catching them, and you're getting out there fresh, and everyone's involved. I expect them to run 4 lines the whole game and overwhelm the Kings. That has to be the plan. It was the plan, and I think it has to be the plan for tomorrow.
You've talked so much, too, about how much having a role gives guys confidence, and I think we're really seeing that in this series.
And feeling valuable.
Yeah.
Like when those guys scored that goal, when the janitor scored that goal, like how good did he look? And Wallman jumped in that pile like they just won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Like that tells me how much they value those guys and how much they appreciate what they're doing as a 4th line. Keep in mind, those 2 guys, Podkolzin and Arvidsson, they were the 4th line. Or sorry, they were 2nd line for a lot of the year. Yeah. Now they're the 4th line, and they're feeling and playing good and contributing. That'll be huge for their confidence.
All right, last one. Our friend Nick Biskupek out in Ontario there always gives us these great, I like to ask you these personal questions. He's always good for them. So he says, what is Struddy's best memory playing in the NHL? A moment in time, a game, a season, a goal, a hit. What jumps out?
This one's a little bit emotional, I guess, but the first time I played in Edmonton, and afterwards I came out, and I just thought it'd be my mom and dad and a couple friends. There was like 50 people there that come down to see me after the game. And, I was really proud to play in the NHL, and I to see them all there, because they'd all supported me, right? Whether it was family, friends, my family, a lot of my friends were there, and it meant so much to me that they're there. And anyone, if you're anyone who's going to play in a professional league, and you're wondering if you should go to their first game or not, just go. Don't wonder. Like, I loved seeing them there. I was so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I was 22. I was, really know anything at 22, but and looking back now, I really, really appreciated that. And I played a good game. So it was even a bonus.
Excellent. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Wonderful. Thanks for the question, Nick. Appreciate you sharing stuff like that, Struds. I know the people on the stream love hearing those stories.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. And it's funny when you ask questions, sometimes you haven't been asked or haven't thought about for a long time. So perfect. Thanks, Nick. Thank you, everybody, for a great show today. We really appreciate it. Tons of great content. Tell a friend if you like what you're hearing. Pass it along. Get it down. We love we're growing every week. And Zubie and I have a great time. Zubie, any final thoughts as we head into a night off for the oil? We can all at least get a full night's sleep tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy the night off. I did 3 podcasts since the Oilers game ended last night, so I'll enjoy my night off. And but this was a ton of fun. I think we had a great show today.
Great stuff. A lot of content for you all. So thanks for joining in. Again, we'll have a podcast after tomorrow night. It's game, post-game, and let's hope it's one where we talk about a series clinching win. Zubie, thanks for this. It was awesome. Thanks to all our sponsors. We really appreciate your support. We could do it without you. And our guests, Ryan Rishaug and Darren Dreger, otherwise known as Darren Dreger. Don't tell him or he's coming after me.
Yeah.
Everyone have a great evening. Enjoy your night off, and we'll look forward to chatting with you tomorrow after the Oilers game. Take care.
So long.